Good morning.
Good morning, Beatriz. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good. You look beautiful as always.
Beautiful as always. Thank you. Thank you. Trying. I took a bath today.
So did I. I wanted to at least smell good.
So we have 40 people. Good morning, everyone. This is so nice. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for paying attention to us.
Yes, now Beatriz, I did tell everybody right before you logged on, I have muted everyone. No one can unmute themselves. So they will have to raise their hand or write on the chat any of their questions. And if they want to speak, I can unmute them. But for safety reasons of the Zoom, we're gonna keep everybody muted.
Okay, great. I see a lot of people. Maria Papas, how are you? Ari, we have here nice people that I've done business before with. Very nice. Wow, a lot. Camilo. All right, so let's start talking about. First of all, I'm Beatriz Santa Maria. For those who don't know me, I've been on the development world for a while now. It's gonna be about 10 years. And I've been always, I started with my sister, and then I went on my own, and now we are back together, and that's known as the Santa Maria team. So right now I'm working for Armani Casa. It's a development for desert. And we are in Sunny Isles. Just in case for you in the future, if you need something on the beach, call me first. So let's start with the condo dogs. So why the condo dogs? I'm doing this selling pre-construction series because a lot of people, they truly do not have the experience of what it is to walk into a sales center and what happens inside, and then what happens with the reservation, what happens with the contract, and what happened, what is going on inside is a total different operation than the one that you have outside in a general real estate, two different situations. So today we're going to talk about the condo dogs, and I took as a sample, my condominium, which is the one for Armani Casa. And the common thing that you're going to find, this is a condo dogs is a very common book, very thick. If you don't see it here, it's quite thick. But it's pretty much the same. There is no such a difference, like a big difference. Of course, each condominium is different, but it has pretty much the same content. So when you do, why it's important that you basically learn to go through the condominiums, because the condominium, the condo dogs are the statement of the promise of sale. When you went to reservations, you were told we're going to have this and this and this and these amenities. You will have this is going to be the size of your apartment. These are going to be the common areas. This is going to be your maintenance. This is going to be blah, 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 blah. It's a list of promises, okay? And then everything gets set black and white at the moment that you get this book. This is the Bible of the building. And I'm the first one. I'm always very excited when I see the first condo dogs for my building, when I'm seeing buildings, because I'm the first one that, trust me, I read it completely. I read it all. I highlight it. I put stickers on. I truly digest that book, because it's what is going to, first of all, because I need answer to all of your questions, but also because it's what is going to tell me and assure that what I promise to your client is really set in black and white. And what happens sometimes, between reservation and contracts, it happen, you know, we have a lot of time in between, and some things change. So that's why it's important to make sure that we read everything. So basically, what do we find in a condo doc? So the condo docs is just basically it's a set of documents that they are put together and establish basically, and they establish a condominium and regulate the living in a condominium community, and regulates the living, regulates who's gonna govern, how the voting is going to be, how are going to the expenses, where the condominium is going to be located. You know, it's all these it's a set of documents. It's a whole package that is then put together in something like a book, and it's a very heavy book. Now, sometimes some people love to keep for themselves, just for a future client. I want you to please be considerate, be patient, because it costs a lot of money. This is it can be a book that can run between, I don't know, $70, $80, $200 a book, perhaps more. And if I give one of these to each broker, well, it's gonna be it's a heavy expense. So sometimes they are very controlled. Just let us know what is it that you need to know or read, and we cooperate with you, but we cannot provide one for everyone. We just provide one for every buyer. Actually, prospective buyer, because if you are on reservation and you're gonna move to contract, is because you're still not a buyer, you're a prospective buyer. So first of all, you're gonna find the declaration of the condominium, and the declaration of the condominium is a document that is recorded in the county, the clerk of court of the county that we are establishing the condominium, and it's going to tell you the location, how the condominium is represented. It represented the responsibilities of the owners, where and what are the common elements and how they can be shared, the maintenance of the association, the unit owner voting rights, and the description of the condo units, insurance, and procedure for meetings and votings. I want to make just a clarification here. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not pretending to be a lawyer. And none of this. I'm not trying to interpret a condominium. I'm trying to understand where the promises for the sale are here in this condominium. If you have a client that wants an expert opinion of the bylaws and the declaration of condominium, you should get a lawyer. Now, at the moment, let me tell you, because I've seen it over and over again. At the moment that you get a lawyer involved, many things can happen. You know, it can be good, it can be bad, but for sure, many things. So this is my call to you. Read the condo docs, understand the condo docs, and navigate your client to the condo docs. If the client wants an expert opinion written and signed, so get a lawyer. That's my clarification. Now, articles, so you're gonna find the article of incorporation, who are gonna be the directors and who are gonna be the officers for the condominium. So, and then you're gonna find the bylaws, and the bylaws is basically the rules of the game. You know, how can you rent, how can you, the meetings, I'm sorry, everything that has to do with the condominiums and these, you know, the offices, and how are they going to meet, where, how, and discuss all the financial information for the condominium. And the estimated, you're also going to find the estimated operating budget. Very important. Look at it, read it, and understand it. Why? Because I've seen and I had this experience in another development, and well, I saw it. I read the condominium, and I saw this. And it happens that sometimes when you have mixed developments, mixed, name it retail, residential, and hotel. When you have these mixed components, I'm telling you, I'm suggesting you, I'm recommending you, read the operating budget. Why? Because the condominium is one location. It's not like two separate locations. No, it's one location, one square building, one budget. Now, who's gonna pay for the common areas? Who's going to pay for, I don't know, the maintenance of the pool? Who's going to pay for valet parking? Who's going to pay for this and this and this and that? Sometimes you're gonna find that some budgets are heavier towards the unit owner, and the other components are not so heavy on the budget. So I recommend you read it and understand it, so your client knows what is it that they are buying and how their dollars for maintenance are going to be spent, and how in the future they can be charged for additional charges. Why? Because of these mixed components. I am very picky at when we have mixed components, to read very well the budget. That budget, let's say that you have valet parking, that you have, I don't know, you have hotel components and that, and pretty much it can happen that the owners can end up paying more for all those common areas and a fee to get into those areas. Let's say the pool, you have a component, you have a mixed building. So you have the residential and you have the hotel. And so you are very excited because you're getting, I don't know, this hotel or this spa or whatever brand, beautiful, amazing place that is very well established in New York, and they come to have that spa here in Miami and blah, and this in my building, and I'm gonna buy because of that service. And then all the expenses for, you know, the heavy budget to have that area is towards the resident. But then in the future, if you're gonna utilize that area, you're gonna have to pay a fee for it. Why? Because it is on the operating budget and it's established. It's already on the condo docs. You cannot come later and tell me I didn't know, because you did know. You know, how I'm gonna know, how I'm gonna reply to you, how's the association reply to you? And this is where most of the owners, they lose the battle right here, you know, right here. And the condo docs, because you gonna sign a paper telling me that you did receive this condo docs. So that's why it's very important that you read the budget. The budget, it will tell you how it's gonna be, how the money is gonna be utilized, and how in the future your client is going to be paying for those amazing services, for that amazing spa, pool, hotel that is coming to your building. How it's gonna is going to operate. Very, very important. Look for the budget. Try to read it. Try to understand it. Ask questions. Always ask questions about the budget and the condo docs. Everything on the condo docs. Ask everything, but read it. Get familiar with it. So then you're gonna find the receipt for condominium documents. I know it's a very important part of my business. You know, me as a development sales professional, I have to make sure that you get the book and that your client signed that received the book. That's why most of the times we deliver the contract. When we're gonna convert from reservations to contracts, we deliver via a certified mail, FedEx, UPS, UPS, DHL, name it. You can be in, at the very northern tip of Russia, will deliver over there. Why? Because I have to make sure that you sign that receipt for condominium documents, because that document can, by us not having that, you can get out of contract at any moment and you can sue me. You can do whatever you want, but it's as important as the contract itself signed, right? Now you have the condominiums, very important. I highlighted here, when you receive, from the moment that you receive the contract to you have 15 days. You have 15 days to read the contract, and you have 15 days to read your beautiful Bible. This is the one that is going to accompany you for the next, whatever years that you're going to have the condominium. Read it, and you have 15 days to convert. That's the rescission period, right? Andreina is telling me that my logo looks backwards. Sorry guys, let me see if I can change it. See if it's fixed now. Andreina. Okay, let's hope that it's fixed.
Todavía no, está al revés en la pantalla.
So let's, guys, I'm sorry. Let's leave it like that for now.
This is a tiny pet peeves that we have issues with. There you go. Now it's right.
Now it's right?
Yes, you got it.
Okay, so let's change to, I don't like that background. I like a black better. Let's leave it black. All right, so even though it's backwards, I'll change it next time and I'll fix it next time. So let's go. So what is it that you're gonna find on the book? The first pages, you're gonna go through the first 3 pages. That's where you're gonna find most of the, I'm gonna tell you how to navigate. Just a quick look. It's just a quick look of the condo docs. I want what to find on this. So you're gonna find the index, and this is the first page. On the first page, basically it's telling you what I just told you, the description of the condominium, basically everything, the index. So you have, in our case, I'm just telling you our case, Armani, how, and how is, this is a sample for my building right now. And that is how it is lined up. Now, it changes from building to building. It depends on how the condominium is established, and it depends of the amenities. It depends of the components. As I said, if you have other components, retail, hotel, or residential, and if they're mixed, it's gonna change a little bit, but it's more or less what you're gonna find on the different condominiums. So I highlighted, the arrows that I put there is what I'm gonna be looking like, what is gonna first catch my attention, and I'm gonna be reading just to understand fast. Let's say that you receive the book and you don't have time, you have to read it fast to understand and talk to your client. These are pretty much where you're gonna find the difference. First of all, these days, the brand agreement, you're gonna find the description of the condominium, and the description of the condominium is gonna tell you, now I'm not gonna be reading everything, because obviously it's a lot of reading and it gets boring. So leave that for the lawyers, but basically it's gonna tell you what is the LLC that is conforming the association and blah, blah, blah. But brand agreement, very important. If the building is branded, go and look for the brand agreement. That in that page is gonna tell you for how long the brand can be utilized and on the building. For how long can I hang that brand on the building? How much it's gonna cost, and everything about the grant agreement. The leasing of developer-owned units. Why is this important? I think that I have a separate separate slide for that, but I'll tell you quick what it is. The leasing of developer units, I want you to understand that after 2008, when the last crash, a lot of developers have a lot of units. And they were keeping all this inventory. No one could sell, and it was a whole disaster. But they couldn't rent. Some of the developers couldn't rent the units. So they were paying maintenance and taxes, and they were paying all kind of expenses, but they couldn't have any income. So the big change is this. Leasing of developer-owned units. What that means? It means that, let's say today, 2010, I've sold, so far I've sold 20% of my building only, and I already delivered, this is an very extreme case. But let's say that I only have 20% sold, I already delivered, the building is right there, it's existent. Now, how is the developer gonna compensate for all those expenses? The developer can rent the units. It's very important that you know that that can happen. It can happen in two scenarios. One, that the units are delivered, that the building is already delivered, existent, and the developer needs to compensate for all the expenses they can rent. Two, that if you've been called to close, but you don't want to close because A, B, C, D reason, whatever reason is that you have, if you don't come to close, the developer, most of the developers have this on their condo docs. If you don't come to close, I can rent that unit while you come to close, while we are on litigation, while whatever, anything that happens, until you close, the developer can rent that unit to compensate for expenses. All right, because the developer, if we haven't closed, I still owe the unit. So if I still owe the unit, I have the right to rent it. So those are the two scenarios where the developer can still rent the unit. Any question? No questions. Okay, good. So let's go. Hold on, let me see. I want to see the chat. Okay. All right, okay, I just wanted to check on the chat and make sure that there are no questions. If you have any question, you can type it here. Yeah, that Andreina or myself.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, and also you're gonna find the transfer of control of the association, when and how is going to happen from the developer to the owners association. It's very important that you know when is that going to happen, so you can, if you 2-3 months after you close, you know who to talk. Who are you talking to? Okay, it's very important. I will love this class in Spanish. Yes, I promise I'll do it in Spanish. We already told that to Andreina. I promise I'm gonna do it in Spanish. Maybe next week we'll start in Spanish. Now, restrictions on use of units and common elements. How are you going to rent, right? That is right there. That's it's a very common question. It's a very common request. It's common today. Everybody wants to do Airbnb, right? Everybody wants to do short-term rentals. That's what most of our clients want. And maybe I sold you that promise. This is where you want to check if that promise, the promise of the building allowing you to rent 1 month, I don't know, 6 months, a year, whatever times, 1 time, 12 times, 6 times, that's where you're gonna find it. That's why you have to check if the promise of short-term rentals is being kept. So look there, look for the restrictions on use of the units and common elements, especially the units. I'll look for the renters, okay? And also the closing expenses. The closing expenses are gonna be also there, and it's going to tell you the common in the industry, 1.75% for closing cost, 2 months for reserve. That's for the association, that reserves for the association. So those are the most common, what you're gonna find there, the closing expenses. It is there, it is established, it is in black and white. Why I'm telling you it is there? Because a lot of people get question or concern at closing. Oh, but I didn't know. No, perhaps your in-house didn't know. If you work with me, of course, I'm going to tell you these are going to be your closing expenses, because I don't want you. Listen, the more information that I give you at reservation, the easier the closing is going to be, and your client is going to be more clear about the closing. No questions, closing fast, you receive your commission and I get mine. Okay, so, but if I'm going to be hiding, just don't work with an in-house that that is not clear about that. You know, you're going to spend an extra money. It's not about only about the purchasing price. It's also about the closing expenses. And yes, the client pays for it. It's 1.75%, which is for the title company, for the book, for the condo docs, for closing, for the inspection, for blah blah, just as any other general real estate transaction. Okay. So let's keep going. So what else are you gonna find? You're gonna find the estimated operating budget. What's nearby constructions and what's happening nearby, and when is this agreement effective? I mean, you want to make sure that you're reading a valid document that is active, not something that is going to happen, I don't know, in 10 years, and you're signing something that is not valid to present day. And then we will have the declaration of the, here it says exhibits, group prospectus, and then you have the declaration of condominium. So let's keep going. What is it that you're gonna find there in the declaration of the condominium? So you have the description, blah, 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 amendments, maintenance and repairs, who's responsible, and what is considered maintenance and what's considered repairs, additions, how are you gonna, how are you gonna proceed with any addition that you want to do to your unit, and changes to developer own units. Now, occupancy and use restrictions, how are you gonna get into the unit, and parking.
Beatriz,
yes.
we have a question that says, what happens if the condo rules authorizes one rent or year, tenant vacates 6 months after contract? Could I re-rent it again, or do I have to wait the 6 more months?
Oh, you have to wait.
Exactly.
As simple as that. That's not, it's as simple as that. And it's as simple, you have to wait. You have to follow the condo docs rules. It's not that the association told me, that the receptionist of the building told me, is that my realtor told me. Guys, get used to this. This is the best Bible ever. This is our Bible for everything. I love him. I love this book. I love it. I read it entirely, always. All right, so parking units. Why is very important today? Because some people, for some reason, I don't know why, they promise that yes, you'll have parking, yes, it'll be assigned, yes, it'll be this size, or this size. And then, and I've heard of this case lately, and this person calls me, this is outrageous. Hi, Beatrice, what do you recommend? Because this developer told me that they were gonna get a parking and this and that, but I didn't know that the parking was going to be this size, and it was going to be at the last floor of the parking spaces. That this is ridiculous. This is so unfair. And I asked this person, did you read the condo docs when you were signing the contract? No. Ah, okay. So, yeah, your client has a very good reason to be mad, especially at you, because you didn't read the condo docs and you didn't tell him at the moment of closing, I'm sorry, signing the contract, what was going to happen with his parking lot. But now, 2 years later, guess what? It's really late. It's really late for you to be complaining about what parking space has been assigned. Trust me, the best moment for you to renegotiate anything except for pricing, but it's a very good moment for you. The developer really wants you to sign that contract. Believe me, we are at the moment of signing the contract is another negotiation moment. It's a moment of truth. So the developer will bend here and there in order to get you signing that contract. So if you are so concerned about the parking, read it, you realtor, go read it, understand it, and tell your client to request a different spot, a different location, a different whatever. But don't abandon your client and come back 2 years later, all infuriated because you got the wrong spot. Too late. It's a no, no, no. So let's keep going. And then again, you're gonna find about brand agreement. There's a question, what happens if the condo rules authorize 1 rent year, tenant vacate 6 months after condo? Could I rent it again? Oh, already got that question, all right. So the survey plot, why is very important. It's silly, but I'm telling you, read it and make sure that you've been sold a condominium at that address that you are pretending to purchase. Why is this? So what if I tell you that the reason because we cannot go to New York and sell just freely and pursue buyers over there is because I was told this story that back, I don't know how many years ago, when Florida was just crocodiles and a swamp, some people used to go there and tell you, and I'm gonna sell you this beautiful house in this beautiful land, and they will show just a rendering or whatever they wanted to come up with for marketing purposes. And it happens that it was in the middle of the Everglades. So the reason there are so many restrictions in these upper east states is because everybody wanted to come to sunny Florida, and some people were selling something in the middle of the Everglades. So that's basically the reason that they, New York especially, they want to make sure that where the land is located, that it is going to exist, that is legit. Basically, that's the reason why. Now, so that's why the survey lot. Read where, if it's this is under the address for Armani is 189-8975. Yes, it is located right in front of the ocean. Yes, it goes all the way to Collins. Okay, I'm buying what I'm thinking that I'm buying. Silly, but read it. I'm telling you, read it because it's real. After pandemic, will condo business fade? I don't know. Tell me, Armando. I mean, do you think that will fade? I mean, do you think that we're not gonna sell any more condos? Do you think that we're not gonna sell any more food, or we're not gonna sell any more clothes? I don't think that will fade at all. Real estate is an essential business. I mean, we are an essential business, and it will keep as an essential business. Won't fade, absolutely not. I mean, everything has a cycle in life, but I think that we're gonna have, a slower pace in business, but it's not gonna fade. I mean, as it fades, it's gonna come back. Now, let's keep going. Another thing that you're gonna find right there where the survey plan and all the plans are, is the height of the condominium. Why is is this so important? Here is the building, and it's going to show you all the height of the building. And I'm going to tell you something that happened to me in another building. So I had this guy. He was a neighbor. He's a very wealthy buyer, and he was a neighbor to 2006 or 7, more 2006-7 building. He bought there on building 40. I'm sorry, on floor 41. So he came to me and he says, okay, so I want to know how high your building is going to be, because I just want to know if your building is going to block my view, and I want to be safe. So the guy came to me, so the guy found out that it was on the 41st floor, 41st. So if I'm on the 41st, I'm sorry, 43rd, and you guys are gonna be as high as 41, so I'm gonna be higher than you. All right, wrong, totally wrong. The guy, yes, he was on the 43rd, but it was a 43rd floor on an 8 high ceiling building, you know, per floor. So my build, so my 41st, it was higher than his 43rd, because the height per floor, it was higher on this building. So you have to keep in mind this, that at level 30, you're gonna be, how high on feet, you're gonna be above the sea level, all right? And this is very important for people in other countries. Why? Because my floor here, my level 30, is not the same that level 30 in my native country, Colombia. We have barely 8 feet high, or sometimes 6. It's very, the height of the building, the ceilings is very short. So people say, no, I want, I'm not gonna buy you that 4th floor because it's very low. If you were at least a 10 or a 15, let's do the math. My level 4, my level 8 is, let's divide, do the math, just do the math. How high, where do you live, sir? Mr. John, Mr. Smith, where do you live? Oh, I live in Ecuador in a floor 10. Okay, 10, how high is your ceiling? Multiply times, and then you're gonna know how high he is above the, not the sea level, above ground. And then come here and translate into this building. So we are comparing, you know, apples with apples. So it's very important that you look at that. I keep this picture, I keep it all the time on my phone, because that is constantly, especially when we want to sell low floors. When we want to sell low floors, this is the best way to debate this argument. So compare the height. So you're gonna find that on the Condo Docs, and ask the person that you're working with for that picture, so you can sell low floors. And because low floors, less money. So maybe your client is looking for an opportunity, or is looking for something a lower budget, and it happens that a 5th, 6th, 7th floor is not as bad. It's truly high. I mean, it's not, you know, you have 7th floor plus parking plus that. It's not that low. So then here we're gonna have a very, very important, I want you to understand this one. And guys, I don't know what to tell you about this. I don't know if it's cold, hot, black, white, good, bad. It's what it is. When I tell you that one unit is 2,000 square feet, I want you to understand that it's 2,000 square feet perimeter, all right? All around, and I get the entire space of the square feet of that area, right? If inside that area, I have columns, I have drywall, I have whatever it is counted as a square feet living area in the marketing material. I don't have a floor plan here for my building on hand, but there are 2 floor plans that you have to understand. marketing floor plan, and the other one is the architect, not the architecture, but this one, the one that is on the condominium floor plan. Two totally different floor plans. And then you have the architectural one. So let's say that you have three. The architectural plan, don't ask for it. No developer will release the architectural floor plan. It's very complicated. It has a high liability for many reasons, because if I'm telling you that the distance from here to that wall is whatever feet, inches, and then the worker that day got dizzy, and instead of doing it at 10 inches, did it at 9 inches, then it's going to become a lawsuit. And the architectural plan is very specific about those measures. The developer won't release it. At the moment that you receive the unit, it's recommended that you get an architect to do that for you, to measure or a surveyor to do, to measure those distances and do an architectural floor plan for you. All right, it's very complex, and developers won't do that. And I think that with a very good reason. I understand that it's going to be an extra cost for your client, and I understand that your client will want to speed up the process of furnishing and finishing the unit. I understand all that. I'm with you. I would love to have it, but I also understand that it's a liability for the developer, and they want, and there is no paper or agreement anywhere that says that I will give you architectural floor plans. So don't fight for it. Don't get mad, don't get frustrated, because it's not going to happen. So now we understood this. It's about the perimeter inside. So this is why it says here, let me tell you how it's shown. Unit area, typical area, all right? Unit area, this is the square feet that you're gonna have inside your unit. The typical area is what the marketing floor plan is going to say, all right? And it is on the condo docs. It cannot be a surprise to you 2 years later, all right? Do not come with surprises, because it is on the condo docs. This is common on almost all the developments in Florida. Now, that very same patient is telling you that this is on exhibit on sheet 1. Here is on the exhibit on sheet 1 of this exhibit, and that exhibit is right here, all right? And it's telling you blah, 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 that what is the unit area and what is the typical area. Questions about that, because that is one of the most common arguments, discussions, fights, whatever, disagreements that we get when we deliver a unit. And there's nothing that we are doing wrong, nothing that we haven't disclosed. It is on the condo docs. They say very same condo docs that I gave you 2-3 years back. Okay? Any question about that? I want one thing is that, and let me make, just make it clear. And it's the very same thing that you're gonna find on the MLS. You're gonna go to the MLS and you're gonna look for what? The marketing square footage. That's what's gonna show there. The real living space without the walls and the structural is here in the condo docs, right here. You're gonna find this very plain floor plan, let's put it that way. It's not as pretty as the marketing one, but it tells you the structural, the walls, and it's going to tell you really what is the size of the living area. Again, any questions about this? You don't understand this argument of measure? It is an argument, because you have right here, you have about 500 square feet difference. That is the argument that the client is paying for 4,127 and is receiving 3,502. So that is the argument. It's 500 difference. And this applies for all the condominiums in Miami or South Florida. So that is the argument. You are paying whatever amount. You are paying 500 per square foot. You're paying 1,000 per square foot. If you're paying 1,000 per square foot times 500, So it means that you have a 500,000 difference. See, that is the argument. The argument is square footage, living square footage, and money. That is the big, the real big argument. Now, it's nothing that I haven't disclosed. I already gave you these condo docs 2-3 years ago. It's not new. So don't come to me and tell me I didn't know. Is this only Miami? I don't know. It's mostly Florida. Most of the developments that I've worked and that I know that my colleagues and everybody, they are all the same. It's pretty much the same. Why developers won't make it exact? To be honest, I don't know. I don't know exact, and it's foreign buyers don't get this. I truly do not have an answer for that. I don't know if it's because a law that it was created a long time ago, or if it was because something that it was said long time ago, or something happened. I truly don't know. I don't know the reason. I would imagine that it's because of a law situation, because it makes no sense that so many clients want it as the marketing plan, and then we receive it in a different way. And it's so evident and so clear that it's on the condo docs. So I would have to guess that it's because it has to do something with law. And also, Andreina is telling you because things can change during construction, and it is true. So
I'm gonna guess that if they put it on the condo docs, they're trying to cover themselves from any changes. You never know what might happen when it comes to inspections. When an inspector comes in, if something is changed or moved or whatever it may be, and at the end of the day, the developer is always going to cover themselves, and not just cover themselves, they're going to cover their architects, their contractors. So in order to not go into like a whole legal matter, they're going to cover themselves straight from the condo docs.
Correct. So I think that it's also because, as I said, if I for whatever reason I have to put a wall, for whatever reason later on, it's also to cover it. Many things can happen in the time of 2-3 years of construction. So it has to do also with covering themselves. It's a very long time, very long time. But the best, listen, read the condo docs, go to the floor plan and know exactly how many, what is it that is going to be your living area and what is going to be your structure, the structural walls and everything inside your unit. And sometimes it changes the architecture, the marketing floor plan, it changes from this totally. It happened to me like in another building. I remember, it's not this the case, but it was in another building that I was selling, that the marketing plan showed the wall here, but this floor plan, the one on the condo doors, it showed it right here. Oh my God, and that was like 2-3 weeks of back and forth with the client to get it into contract. I don't remember how we solved it or solved that. I think that the developer agreed to put it as the marketing plan. I think that was the case, that the developer agreed to have it back here to the room so he could have a bigger living area. More or less was the case, but that's why I'm telling you, check the condo doors, check the floor plan, check the marketing floor plan, and then at the moment of contract is the moment that you can renegotiate anything and everything. Anything and everything. Brenda, I had the same issue with this buyer, what a headache, and he was an architect in Germany. I have to say that architects overseas are very detailed. They are very good. One of the things in difference, so if you in the future, you get to talk to an architect from overseas, architecture, especially in South America, architects in South America, they also have, they are educated, trained, or they get a lot of structural knowledge. I mean, they started a structure. So the architect in the United States is merely design. I'm telling you design, and I'm telling you this because my husband is an engineer, a structural engineer, and he practices as an architect. So he does all these things. But sometimes when he is, when he gets consulted about a structure and he sees the floor plan that another architect says, I said, another architect does, and he says, but how are you going to build this? There is not correlation between what you want to build and what you can build, because it's two totally different things. Architects overseas, they know both, all right? And that's the mix also, and why my husband has both, because his father was an architect in Cuba. So he understands, and he went to school for engineering, but he understands both. So it's a challenge when your clients and architects from overseas. It is a challenge. I lived it. I know that. So let's keep going. So then you're gonna find the bylaws. Usually, me and on the development side, I don't go by the, I don't check on the bylaws, but maybe if you have a client that loves to become a member of the association and go to those meetings where everybody fights and all those things, okay, so read that. I don't get into that, especially for the moment of contract. But I want you to know that it is there. Read it, and read it. And, it's cool, for those that like those meetings and those kind of, compensation, resignation, roster of units, and rules and regulations. That's not for me, but that might be for you and the client that wants to belong to the association. And then we have next, we keep following, and then you have the estimated operating budget that I already told you is very important that you look into that. And then we have the escrow agreement where the money is going to be held. Very important that you get to know, because your client, maybe if you already know that escrow are very safe and this and that, your clients are, they want to know where their money is. And especially from overseas, they're very doubtful about money. So it's important that you know what the escrow for the association money is held and how it's held. So go and read it. It's right there. The good thing, the first thing that you take the book. Don't get intimidated by the size of the book. Just go to the first 3-4 pages and read the index and go straight where you see what your client is asking for. Is not that complicated. And then we have here the floor plans, as I already showed you. And we have the receipt of condominiums, which is a very basic, important document for binding the client. So that receipt of condominiums is going to be there. And if you sign it, that you receive it, there's no way later on that 15 days, by day 16, you're gonna get out of contract. I gave you 15 days to read the contracts, and I gave you 15 days to read the contracts and argue anything that you about the contract. So now in the description, what else can, so that's basically what is it basically? What that's the whole index. Very simple, very simple. Sometimes time consuming. I'm telling you, read it. If the developer doesn't give you one, take a couple hours and go to the sales center and ask for a coffee, sit and read it. So you understand what is it that your client is getting into. And also your client is going to receive the condo doc. So you understand the questions that your client is going to ask you, and you reply properly. Rules and regulations as well. I mean, yeah, rules and regulations are very important. Yes, Marisol is typing on the chat. Yes, everything is important. The rules and regulations are very important. You should understand what is it that is there. Now, the description of the condominium, you're gonna find the answer for things like, I get this question all the time. How big is the pool and for how many people? Those specific technical questions are going to be there. So in the description, I found this, everything that it has numbers, I love to read it. I find it very important and it gives me a lot of information, but these kind of questions, you're gonna find them here. How big is going to be each of the common areas, all right? Don't be surprised when you see the building about the size, if it's too big, if it's too small. It is on the condo docs, all right? Now, you're gonna find also things about the leases. So on the description of the condominium, and as I told you before, you're gonna find for how long, you know, like let's say the Armani's case. Armani's case, it says very specific, no unit may be leased for more than 2 times per year or for a period of less than 30 days. It is there. So it has no surprise in the future about anything else. If I sold you the unit 4 years ago with the promise that you could do Airbnb here, I didn't know, or I was a liar, or I just wanted to get a fast reservation and just buy and maybe just praying and hoping that you won't read this in the future. So it's the promise of non-renting it, because a lot of people don't want to live in an Airbnb building. So the promise of no short-term rentals is right there, period. So that's what you're going to find on the description of the condominium. Then how the expenses, the expenses are going to be assigned. Read it. Remember what I told you, when you have different components in the same buildings, oh my God, read it, read it, read it. I cannot emphasize enough. Read the expenses. When you have combined components in a condominium. Now, the closing expenses and the agreement of sale, it is right there. I told you before that it's right there, and this is very common for everybody. And what is common? It's common that your client is going to pay for, is going to pay 1.75% of the purchase price. And it's very common that your client is going to pay at closing twice of the regular monthly assessment for the association. It's common. Most of the condominium new developments, they all have this writing on the condo docs. So it is there. Don't come back to me surprised. How do you dare to charge me more money? Dear Mr. Smith is right there on the condo docs. It's right there. So those are the closing expenses right there. You're gonna see it. Basically, that's it. It's just summarizing. I'll tell you, see the common areas, look for the common areas and how they can be utilized and for how often. Look for the floor plans, the square footage, so you know what your client is getting into. Look for the closing expenses, very important, so you understand how much it's gonna cost that client to close. And so he's prepared. Oh, don't come to me that a month before or 2 weeks before closing, I didn't know, I don't have the money to close. Dear Mr. Smith, beautiful realtor, I gave you the condo docs 2-3 years ago. Please don't come with that argument because we're not gonna accept it. And then you're gonna get all infuriated and you're gonna say, this developer is so rude, they don't want to extend the closing date. I told you long time ago. So believe me, developers today are so cautious with all the closing paperwork because we learned the hard lesson 2004 all the way through 2008. We learned our lessons and we are very cautious today. So don't come with arguments. I didn't know, you didn't give me. Most likely, I did tell you, I did give you the paperwork. So any other, just now we can open this to questions. Basically, those are the little things that I want you to check. And remember, whatever you want to negotiate, renegotiate. This is the time. No developer want me to say that, but you can do it. You can try. If you have a problem, you have a question, if you have something that is uneasy on you because you don't feel comfortable or your client doesn't feel comfortable, let us know. And maybe we can come to an agreement, because we are truly interested at the moment of contract. We are very interested that you sign that contract and that you give me that extra deposit. And then you have 15 days. By the day number 16, I'm telling you, we're not gonna negotiate anything. Zero. So that is the moment, and that's why I'm telling you, read it, read the main points, negotiate whatever it is that you need, and that's it. I see your closing. Basically, is how it is. Any questions? So now we're open to questions, Andreina, if you want to open, or people want to say or ask anything.
All right, so what I'm going to do is that I am going to allow the participants to unmute yourselves. In the case that you have a question, you're able to unmute yourself now and ask Beatriz anything that you would like. Jose wrote in the chat, are you can send these infos by email, PDF with these points?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll send it to you, Andreina, and Jose Alvarez. Okay, I'll send it, and I'll send it to you.
Beautiful. Now I see that Armando and Liliana have unmuted themselves.
No.
Armando, what are your questions?
Hold on. Brian is asking, does the initiation of negotiation extend the 15-day period to terminate? Actually, it's a very good question. Yes and no. No, by law, because by law you have 15 days period, take it or leave it. But we are very interested on you signing that contract. So as long as you keep a written communication with us, then yes, it goes, it continues extending back and forth the rescission period. But it's very important that you keep it in a written communication, and so that at the moment that you sign the contract, I'm sorry, what happens is that after you sign the contract, you have 15 days. So I recommend you to negotiate before signing the contract. It's not after the contract. After the contract, you have 15 days. Before the contract, you have as long as you want. What happens is that and it happens sometimes. Some clients have 1,000 questions, and you go back and forth, and trying to accommodate that client and please him so he feels comfortable to sign the contract. So sometimes it extends for a long period of time, sometimes a month, sometimes 2 months. But also happens that the developer said, listen, this guy is not serious. And by now already increased price. So you know what? And if it's a high demand moment, you know what, Mr. Smith, thank you so much. I appreciate all your questions. I'm not interested in you as a buyer. I'm canceling your reservation. Remember, you are on reservation. Reservation is not a contract. Reservation is the intention to buy and with the intention to sell. So if you keep going and going and going and going with the negotiation, this negotiation requiring all kind of silly demands or very valid demands, whatever it is the case, but the developer always have the right to cancel a reservation. So choose your battles. Choose your battle. Negotiate, but choose your battle. Don't take it very long. But after you sign the contract, with everything that I just told you, you have 15 days to retract and say, you know what, after signing that contract, you know what, I'm gonna cancel. And then you can cancel and get the money back. Any other question?
Guys, you're unable to unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask a question.
So I have some colleagues here. Hi, Monse.
Alexander just unmuted himself.
Yeah. Hi, Beatriz. How are you? It's Alex.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Quick question. Now, you might have gone through this, so I apologize if I missed it. But sometimes within the bylaws or condo rules or what have you, an association says, you know, they can't, new owner can't rent a property for a certain amount of time. Is that something usually that would come from the developer side, or is that after the fact?
It comes, all right, at the moment of the creation of the condominiums and all the bylaws, it comes from a bunch of people that got together and said, this is what we want to sell. It's like, I want to sell a red t-shirt with a unicorn on it. That's the product that you are selling, right? At that moment. If later on, I don't know how many years, I don't know what was the case, but if later on the association got together, you know, the association got together and they changed what it is on the condo docs, well, it's something that they can change. I mean, they could change it later on, but that has to be voting, and you know, it's a whole. They have to vote and write it down, and I don't know what are the laws for changing. But if they change it, it's not that the developer did it. The developer created a product, delivered. What the association does later on, I don't know. That's up to the association.
Got it. Thank you.
I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It did. It did answer my question. It doesn't come from the developer, basically. So that's good to know.
Okay, so I'm getting another question privately, so I'm not going to disclose the name, but it says, why some developers start counting the 15 days rescission period from the day of offer? Should it be after it's executed? Yes, it's after executed, and that is why you should, obviously, we all have interest. You have an interest, I have an interest, the client has a different interest, and my broker has a different interest. We are all procuring the best for ourselves. So whenever a contract is sent to your client, all right, it has a date, all right? So the date, the executed date is the date of that the parts come to an agreement, and this goes also for general real estate. We have to come to an agreement. So when we send a contract, and we send the whole package for you to sign, already has a date. So if you don't feel comfortable with that date, or it took longer because you were, I don't know, you were at the hospital or whatever, request to change the date. So the date counts after executed, after the agreement of the parts, when you sign the contract. If you sign the contract overseas or whenever I send you the contract, check on the date. That is the date that it starts counting. Oh no, but I signed the contract a week later. And how am I going to know that? Check on the date that it says the contract. That is very important. If your client doesn't feel comfortable with that date, change it. Request to be changed. Or now, if you want that to be changed, change all the dates that it refers to signatures on the entire contract. But listen, we play safe. We play safe, and we're going to have a date on that contract that is going to favor our side. But if your client received the package got, I don't know, messed up by Federal Express for whatever reason, or there was a hurricane or whatever it is, so it got 3 weeks after the fact, and we see by the tracking number that you did receive it late because FedEx lost the package, request to be changed that date in the contract, so you have the valid 15 days rescission period that you should have. I hope that answered your question. Why also another private question, it says, why pay a developer's fee after building is finished? Let's say last remaining developer units after TCO. Isn't it the developer's fee for pre-construction? No. Usually what happens is that the developer's fee for hold on, let me, why pay a developer's fee after building is finished? Okay, the building is finished, but the developer fee it doesn't have to do anything with finishing or not finishing the unit. The developer fee, it has to do with the closing cost. So it has nothing to do with the construction. What I'm charging you for the unit, the amount of the purchase price, it has to do with the development, the construction, the windows, the walls, and everything. But the closing, the developer's fee, it should be called differently because it can be confusing, but the developer fee, that 1.75, it has to do with all this, to pay the lawyers to do all this, paying someone to do the contract, and it has to do with someone paying the people, pay the inspection, and everybody that has to do with closing. In reality, that is the 1.75. The one is too much, it's too little. I'm not the person to say that. I'm just telling you what it is. Some people argue that it's too much, others argue that it's too little. Guys, it's 1.75, it goes to closing cost. The closing of the paperwork of the people, of the title company, for the insurance for the closing, and for everything that has to do with closing. That's what it is. Other person says, but they also charge for closing fees. Okay, so if you don't feel comfortable with this, with that 1.75 and that closing fee, also I want you to know that your client has the right to close with a different company. And for that, let me see if she's here. Someone from the title company, I was talking to her about this. Oh, she registered, but she's not here. She's a very good, powerful person in the market. Oh, so bad that she's not here. I want you to know that you can choose a different company for closing, and therefore those closing costs, that 1.75 can be void. Maybe someone is gonna kill me for saying that, but it is true. And actually, I just had a closing like that. My client, and this happened in my building, the client he said, I'm not gonna close with you guys, I'm gonna close with my own title company. That is my lawyer. He is a very wealthy, powerful guy. Obviously, he was purchasing a unit at Armani, of course. So he has the right to do so. So nothing, we did. I mean, you have the right to do so, but the majority of people don't know that, but you can choose. Any other question? It's been a nice class today. I like it. I like it. Good questions. If you don't want to disclose your question, you can ask on the chat. You can ask privately, so people don't know that it's you the one asking, and I won't disclose your name. I'll keep it secret. Any other question? So, Oreste, any question? My dear, beautiful friend. No questions. I love Oreste. Okay, guys. So if it's nothing else, if you have any question, here is my name. That's a beautiful picture. One day that I took a bath, and I decided to be pretty that day. But here, the most important thing is, this is me. I'm Beatriz Santamaria. I work for Armani Casa and Porsche Design Tower. And that's my cell phone. I love WhatsApp. Also send me a text, but I love WhatsApp better. Send me an email anytime. And if you have a request for a beautiful sunny condo, Call me. I have amazing units at Armani. That's it. Andreina, anything else?
No, I think this was an amazing class. I think you're so thorough. I think this is why the series has been doing so well, because you explain literally from A through Z. And, you know, and I think that that's the same reason why there aren't that many questions overflowing, because you do explain yourself extremely well. So again, I would not think of doing anything like this with anyone else. I think you're the best at what we're doing at the moment with this series.
Thank you. Now, if any of my colleagues, I have some colleagues here, thank you for joining me. And if you have a question, contact me. You know, I'm more than happy to share whatever little or much knowledge I have. Thank you. And anyway, I appreciate a lot when my colleagues, you know, the other in-house come to these webinars, because it's a desire to improve. It's a desire to learn, and always those that learn evolve. Don't forget that.
Yes, I have a saying that says, "Those who show up go up."
Those that show up go up. That's true as well. Very nice.
So it doesn't matter where you are in the industry. If you show up, you learn something new, and that means that you're growing.
Yes, in Spanish. Okay, so let's do it in Spanish. I promise, Andreina, we have more seminars to do in Spanish.
We have work to do.
We have more work. Okay, guys, keep tuned. Every Thursday, 10 a.m. Just tune up. Something new is gonna come up from our beautiful development world, which I love it and I appreciate, because it has given me so much. It's consuming, but I love my little world and expertise that I have.
Ahora, Beatriz, Camilo has his hand up. Camilo, unmute yourself.
Cami, he loves me and I love him. He knows that. Long stories, listen, when we in development, we travel a lot, and we become like a family. So we have good times. we have good stories in one on each country. We have good times. Cami, thank you for the thumbs up. Anything else? That's it. The training. Claudia is asking if this is saved. Yes, it is. Andreina will send you the email, or you can go to andreinamonserrate.com. I'm gonna also upload it on YouTube. I'll send you, but I'm setting up my YouTube channel, so I'll send you also a link to it. I'm not gonna do it a long hour, you know, the whole video. I'm gonna, you know, have it on different clips, but I'll send you the email. Keep tuned. Just
amazing.
Keep tuned. See you next Thursday for English class, and let's see when we'll do in Spanish. I'm gonna talk to Andreina later.
Yes.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.